Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Clef from Punchboard Paradise, and today I'm bringing you a kind of first look, kind of first impressions of the new GMT game Vijayanagara. So, like I said, it's from GMT. Its designers are Sarvio Spagnoli, Matthew Johnson, Corey Graham, and then Amma Matthews. So this is the Deccan Empires of Medieval India from 1290 to 1398. So first thing impression is it's kind of interesting. A lot of times games that involve India usually have something to do with the British, because a lot of different things going on there between Gandhi, the British way. Those all have a lot of British versus India kind of themes. Where this one is just complete, all about India. I believe this is kind of like a civil war type of, fighting for India. I'm not 100% great with the history of it, just from kind of what I've learned from playing the game. But so there we go. So Vijayanagara. So this is the first volume in the what they now are calling the Irregular Conflict series, which basically, I'm here to tell you, this is a coin game, okay? For all intents and purposes, if you're like, well, is this coin game, not a coin? It's definitely more coin than anything. The biggest difference that I will tell you right now that I found from a coin game to this is there is no way to win like during a propaganda round, kind of like in the middle of the game. You simply are always going to the end of the game, and then it's whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game wins. That's probably the biggest change. There's a lot more fighting in this game too, but there are some coin games that do have quite a bit of fighting, so I wouldn't necessarily say that's a big difference. Biggest difference, just no way to win during the middle of the game. You're going to the end. So, this is 3-player, and I haven't said that yet. So you got 3 different factions. So very similar in the aspect of people power, and All Bridges Burning is the other. So 3-player coin game. Sorry, kind of going all over the place with my thoughts. So they've got the 3-player game, a coin series of All Bridges Burning, and then they've got people power. So this is kind of the third of the 3-player kind of coin games. This is more similar to me in people power than it is to All Bridges Burning. All Bridges Burning has a lot of different things going on with it, where people power and this are much more straightforward. Somebody had asked, is this a game that you would first kind of want to introduce new coin players to? I would say this is an absolute good game to start with. It's the ways that you win and the ways you are doing things are very simple. It's not too complicated. You're not like, how do I do this? Not to say that I don't like some of these things in coin games, because I do, but I'm just pointing out there's no lines of communication. There's no this or that, it's very, very straightforward. And I mean, it is a basic coin game. I mean, you've got cards. They've got the 3 factions there on top. I'll talk a little bit more on this when I go into depth on the map. So good introduction, I feel like, to a coin. I like it. I thought it was a fun game. Now, would I say, oh, this is, one of my top coin games? I don't think so, because I think the one thing that I missed, like I keep saying, is being able to win at a certain point, trying to set yourself up to be able to win when, oh, there we go, I hit the propaganda and boom, I win. This, you're just waiting until the end. A little bit of a pickiness, and like I said, this is after 1 play, so this is very much a first impression. My little bit of pickiness is it felt like at the end of the game, we're getting down to it, and we kind of knew that the last 3 cards had like the in-game kind of cards. And it was almost like this person will win if the next 2 cards are this, but if the card is still another event card before that, then this other person has a complete turn just to go and do everything and then just win. And then there was like nothing really you could do about it. But that's after 1 play, and I don't want to say that that's the case. It was just 1 play. We'll have to see. So let's go down to the table. let me kind of show you everything about it and explain a little bit more about it. And then we'll be back with kind of a little bit of my final thoughts. Okay, here you go. You can see the board for Vijayanagara. You can see very beautiful map of India. This board takes place from 1290 to 1398. And this is kind of a, I would call a civil war of India at the time. I'm not great with the history of it, just from what kind of I've learned of playing the game. But you can see absolutely beautiful. We got Delhi right up here. I think they just did a really nice job with this art that's on here. And otherwise, I mean, is it anything super spectacular? No, but I just kind of like how the tones are in the game. Looks very nice. I even like how they kind of have the waves on the river, on the ocean. Just good looking here. You can see that there's 3 factions. So we got the Bahami Kingdom. Then down here we've got the, a bit further down there, Vijayanagara Empire. And then up here we've got the Delhi Sultanate. So kind of feels like this is kind of the government faction, and then these are the 2 rebelling factions. Then there's also the Mongol invaders that are right up here, and they'll kind of come into play attacking down in through the mountain passes into Punjab, into Delhi, kind of wreaking havoc with the Delhi Sultanate. All right, so just kind of looking at the board, as I said, there's the 3 factions. The Bahami Kingdom. They have forts that they can put out, kind of like bases, and then they have their rebel forces. Obviously, when they're in rebellion, they get flipped over. If they're in a tributary, which is how the game starts off, then they're all 100% obedient, so they're flipped down. Anytime if that is removed and like they put their flag out, then they will be in rebellion. So they will be in open rebellion. So that's kind of how that works. Same here with the Vijayanagara. They are the same way. They've got temples, and they've got then their rebel forces. One thing, they both have this influence track. And you can see it, both of them start off with the 0 influence. And as they move up, that will score them victory points. But they also, if they move up, they could get more kind of people to be able to put out onto the board for control. However, if they lose influence, they have to put them back, including if they're all these were out of the board, they would have to grab from one of their provinces to put those back out there. So this was kind of a neat little thing. And plus then the influence will also do you better trades to get better cavalry and such like that. So, okay. The sultans up here, they have kind of their troops, and then they have governors. And these governors are how they're going to kind of eventually, once the other 2 factions start to rebel and remove these tributaries, that's how they can get their their flags back there to like control that area for their victory points. You can kind of see the sultans start off with a commanding lead, 18 to 0. And during the game, they will, when they take away these and add to them, that's going to subtract from theirs and going to add to theirs for whoever is in control of that area. So talking about, I have these Mongol invaders here that come down, and during the game, they're going to kind of have actions. There's going to be cards that come out each round that say Mongol invasion, and either the Vijayanagaras or the Bahamis are going to be the ones who are controlling them, and they'll do different things like add to them or try to move up, or they will attack. Eventually, if they get good enough, they can get all the way to Delhi, and then that's one way that you can really hurt the Delhi Sultans, is by having these Mongol invaders up in here in Delhi, because when they have a battle, if they have leftover Mongol invaders, they have to remove troops from elsewhere on the board and lose resources. So that's one way you can really hurt the Delhi Sultans by doing that. You can see each region is going to either have 1 or 2 kind of influence or population, and then that's going to be part of that victory total. So if here in Bangladesh, if this is removed, that's going to lose 1 point for the Delhi Sultans. And then in this case, let's say that the Bahamis were the ones who took it over. That would then add that 1 victory point. There are also cavalry that you can use during attacks. So one of the things that I'll really say about this game, it is much more attack. You're going to be doing a lot of attacks, whether you are the Delhi Sultans trying to round up these rebels, or I found we were doing a lot of fighting. I was the Vijayanagara, and the other person was the Bahamis, and we were doing a lot of attacking because if you go in and attack against them, you gain influence and they lose influence. So and that was really a key to kind of trying to get those influence tracks up. You can see right down here, there's just normal coin games where you have resources. And then finally down over here, we have the how you take operations. So cards are very similar. I mean, they are just like a coin game here, where you'll see they have the 3 flags up here for the 3 different factions. So in this case right now, the Vijayanagara would be the first to be able to act, since everybody's eligible here. So they could either come and do a command and decree, which is basically a action and a special action, or they could come down here and do the event, or do a command, which is just a regular action, but can do as many as they want to around the board. And then, so let's say they chose that. Then the next up, so Delhi Sultan, then they could either choose the command or event. So obviously each one can only take one of these. Or there are some options up here and below here that you can do. You can always pass, and then you stay eligible and you get some resources. Or you can always do a limited command. So we can do a regular action in one area, but then you get to stay eligible, where this person would go to ineligible, and then the next card would come up, and you would do the same thing, except for here, the Vijayanagaras would not be eligible. They're ineligible. They would take some things, and here you go, and then just flipping and flopping, just like a normal coin game. So you can see, I mean, some beautiful artwork on these cards. They did really nice job. One thing I'll say is a lot of these cards, their events will allow you to stay eligible, which was something that, I mean, there's a few cards in some of the coin games that will let you stay eligible. But this one, I'd say almost half the deck has things that stay eligible. So now these events, some of them are, usually the ones that are stay eligible are not all that like amazingly powerful. They're still good. The ones that, that don't let you stay eligible usually are the better ones. But I thought that was interesting. So, and you can kind of see here, you've got the dice. And I suppose I'll give you real quick an example of how the attacking works. Because basically, let's say that these 4 were in here and they were going to attack. The attacker always rolls 4 dice, okay? So the attacker, no matter what, will roll 4 dice. And then the defender will always roll 2 dice. Doesn't matter the number of cylinders or whatever troops you have in there. It just matters on the, oh my goodness, I rolled Yahtzee. That just matters that you're attacking. You roll 4 dice as the attacker and 2 dice as the defender. Now, where the dice will matter is the number then that you have, because you're trying to get that number or lower. So in this case, if they came in and they were attacked, they would actually hit. They'd get 4 hits because all of their dice are 4 or lower, where the defender here only has 2, so they would need 2s or lower. So that's a 3 and a 5. So neither of those would hit, but all 4 of those 3s would hit. So obviously, if this was like this, then there would only be 3 hits, which obviously, only need 2 hits to remove all this. However, then there is cavalry. So with a cavalry piece, the attacker first has an option. They can use a cavalry piece to either A, take one of their dice down by a number, or use the flip side, which just says screen, which literally gets to, so let's say this was a 2 here, they can just remove one of the defender's dice. And then the defender would have the same choice. So let's say the defender had a couple of cavalry. They could say, I'm removing 2 of those 3s. And now, maybe if it was like this, now there'd only be 1. So now they'd only lose 1 person. So that's so very simple, but yet it felt very deterministic. I mean, I didn't feel like it was super random when it was coming to the attacks. And boy, you didn't want to go up against somebody who had a bunch of cavalry, because you're like, well, it's almost a no-win scenario because they can just remove a bunch of your dice or obviously make theirs better. All right, so there, in a nutshell, is a little bit about the Vijayanagara. Okay, so there you go. So there's a little bit of an overview and a look at Vijayanagara. So for final thoughts of the game, very, very good. I mean, my first impression, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the play. I enjoyed those influence tracks. I enjoyed the, how those Mongols are coming in. Absolutely very, very cool. 3-player wise, I like how they do the eligibility of sequence of play. It's great. Thought the cards were all very interesting. Beautiful board. Great. I mean, the art components, as always, from GMT, out the roof. So, if I was given this, so if you don't know, on Punchboard Paradise, we always rate with a 6-point scale. 6 being a top 10 to 20 game of all time for you, to a 1 being a game that, you're ready to go and jump out a window because instead of playing the game. I'm going to throw this in at a very solid, I want to say like a 4.5 after 1 play, like a 4.5. It was very, very good. I don't know if I'd quite give it a 5, but I feel like it's a little bit better than a 4. I mean, it's a coin game. But we'll see. We'll have to see after more plays whether that's going to kind of land. I think it's going to land somewhere in that 4 to 5 range. If I was really, if you said, no, give me a number, I'm going to say a 4, simply because I miss that aspect of not being able to win in the middle of the game at some point, which is a coin game, specialty, thing that it does so well. So there you go. I'm giving it a 4. If you liked this video, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And if you enjoyed any content, you've never listened to Punchboard Paradise, please come give us a listen. We're on all the major podcast apps. Come and give us a listen. And yeah, so thanks very much. And until next time, everybody, have a good night.